Uh, okay, so let's unpack this right out of the gate.
Let's do it.
Because when I say 1001 Nights to you listening, the absolute first image that probably pops into your head is, well, be honest.
It's the magic lamp. I mean, it's always the lamp, right? Or maybe a flying carpet.
Exactly. It's Aladdin, it's Will Smith or Robin Williams, totally depending on your generation.
Yeah.
We have this very specific, very sanitized, almost Disney-fied mental image of these stories.
Right.
You know, it's all sandy dunes and magical genies and singing.
Which is fascinating, honestly, because that whole pop culture filter completely obscures what the collection actually is. It wasn't written for children. It is this massive, sprawling anthology that accumulated over centuries. We're talking across India, Persia, the Arab world.
Yeah, it's huge.
And buried deep inside that mountain of text, specifically if you're looking at roughly nights 267 through 340, there's this story that feels, honestly, less like a fairy tale and more like a modern summer blockbuster.
And that is exactly what we are doing our deep dive into today. We are looking at the tale of Ali, Shar, and Zumurrud.
Yes.
And I have to say, after reading through the source material you sent over for this, it completely flipped my script.
I told you.
You did. I mean, this is not your typical damsel in distress situation where the guy just, shows up on a white horse to save the day.
Far from it. In fact, the horse plays a very different role here later on.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But this is a story that fundamentally challenges our assumptions about gender roles in medieval literature.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be unpacking a narrative set during the Golden Age of Baghdad, under the reign of the legendary Harun al-Rashid.
Which is just a phenomenal setting.
It is. And our mission today for you listening is to look at how this specific story handles agency, identity, and what I like to call the reversal of fortune.
I honestly couldn't put the notes down. I mean, you've got kidnappings, you've got cross-dressing disguises, underground, well, not fight clubs, but tournaments.
Basically fight clubs.
Basically, political intrigue, high-speed chases. It reads like an HBO script.
It really does. And for you listening, if you want a gripping narrative that also offers some serious insight into historical literary tropes.
Without having to wade through thousands of pages of medieval text.
Right, exactly. Then this is the perfect case study. It's about empowerment, resilience, and the absolute wild lengths people will go to for love.
So let's set the stage here.
Yeah.
We are in Baghdad, the Golden Age.
Right. And you have to understand, Baghdad at this time, we're talking 8th, 9th century, it is the center of the world.
The absolute hub.
Yeah, it's the hub of science, art, commerce. It's a thriving metropolis. And in this bustling city, we meet our first protagonist, Ali Shar.
Okay, Ali Shar.
Yeah.
The notes describe him as the son of a wealthy merchant. He's young, he's handsome, he's charming.
But there's always a but.
There is. He's kind of a mess, isn't he?
He is a complete mess. He is a classic literary archetype. The prodigal son, his father dies and leaves him this massive merchant empire. Now, a responsible heir would maintain the trade routes, check the ledgers, maybe expand the business.
Do the actual work.
Exactly. But Ali Shar, he decides he just wants to become the most popular guy in Baghdad.
Yeah, the source material specifically says he spent his inheritance on, quote, pleasure and charity. Which, look, charity is great.
Sure.
But pleasure usually means really expensive parties.
And that's exactly what it was. He's the guy buying the entire tavern a round of drinks every single night.
Oh, man.
He surrounds himself with these fair-weather friends. He's generous, yes, but he's totally lacking in foresight.
He's bleeding money.
He consumes his capital entirely. And in these folktales, financial irresponsibility is always, always punished.
So the money runs out, the friends disappear. Big surprise there.
Naturally.
And Ali Shar basically hits rock bottom.
He is destitute, completely broke. But this is where the character study gets really interesting.
Yeah, because usually this is where the hero learns a hard lesson, right? He rolls up his sleeves and starts working his way back up.
Right, the typical redemption arc. But Ali Shar does something, something kind of confusing.
It's very confusing.
He scrapes together the very last of his money, the literal dregs of his inheritance, and he goes to the slave market.
Which just seems insane. You can't afford your rent, you don't have food, so your solution is to go buy a person.
I know, but it speaks to his deep loneliness. He's looking for connection, not labor. He's desperate for a companion. And that is exactly where the story pivots. That's where he sees Zumurrud.
Okay, let's talk about Zumurrud, because she is the real star of this deep dive.
Absolutely, no question.
Her name literally means emerald.
Right, yes, emerald. And the text gives us all those standard poetic descriptions you'd expect, skin like moonlight, eyes deep as the sea,
The classics.
the classics. But then it drops this crucial, crucial detail that essentially defines the entire rest of the story.
Oh, I love this line.
It says she has a mind sharper than any sword.
A mind sharper than any sword. It's just setting us up right away to know she's not just some prop in his story.
Exactly. And here's the thing. She's not a passive participant in her own sale either.
Which is wild for the time period.
It really is. In the market, the broker is trying to sell her to these old, wealthy, frankly, really gross men.
Yeah, creepy dudes.
And Zumurrud is just having none of it. She is roasting them.
Out loud.
Out loud. She's critiquing them, mocking their flaws. She effectively vetoes every buyer she doesn't like.
So she's the one shopping, essentially.
Precisely. She is interviewing them. And then she sees Ali Shar standing there.
With his last few coins.
Right. And she sees something in him. Maybe it's his beauty, because he is supposed to be very handsome. Or maybe it's just a gentleness she doesn't see in the others. But she looks at the broker and tells him, that's the one. Sell me to him.
So Ali Shar spends his absolute last dime to buy her. And this is the moment that I think defines everything that comes after between them. Because he takes her home, and does he treat her like property?
No. He frees her. Immediately.
That's just huge.
It's monumental. You really have to remember the context of the era. He has absolutely nothing left. She is his only asset, financially speaking.
Right. He's it.
By freeing her, he is giving up his last bit of leverage on the world. But he does it because he wants a partner, not a servant. It's an act of immense, profound respect.
And it pays off. They get married and they have this nice little bubble of domestic bliss.
Huh.
But the foreshadowing in the text is heavy here. Zumurrud isn't just sitting around being blindly grateful. She's analyzing their situation.
She is constantly observing. Remember, the backstory tells us she was kidnapped from a noble family originally.
Ah, right.
She knows how the brutal world works, and she knows it's dangerous out there, so she warns Ali Shar. She tells him, listen, I have enemies. People will want to take what you have. We have to be careful.
She's the strategist.
Exactly. She's the strategist, and Ali Shar is the romantic.
And of course, because this is a drama, the hammer eventually drops.
It has to.
Ali Shar goes out, probably trying to figure out how to put food on the table since he has no money, and he leaves the door unlocked. Or he trusts the wrong person in the market.
Right. The crisis hits. A plot is hatched. In some versions of the text, it's a corrupt merchant who wants her. In others, it's a band of literal thieves. But either way, while Ali Shar is distracted, they abduct Zumurrud.
This is just the nightmare scenario. You come home, the house is empty, the door is busted, the love of your life is just gone.
It is. And this is where we really, truly see the difference between these two characters. This is the split that defines the rest of our deep dive.
Okay, so let's look at Ali Shar's reaction first. He comes home, finds her gone. What does he do? Does he grab a sword? Does he assemble a posse?
No. He completely falls apart.
This crumbles.
The text describes him weeping until he faints, just physically collapsing from grief. He sells their furniture, which is literally the last stuff he owns in the world, and he becomes a wandering dervish.
Wow.
He basically chooses homelessness and grief.
He becomes this sort of tragic seeker. It's very poetic, very emo, but it's also incredibly passive. He's basically just wandering around waiting for the universe to fix his life.
He is entirely reacting to the world. He's suffering. And in his mind, that suffering is his contribution to the search. He's just mourning her.
Meanwhile, Zumurrud is, well, she's not doing that.
Not at all. She is currently being trafficked to a completely distant city. She's isolated. She has no money, no allies, no local connections.
The terrifying situation.
But the source text specifically says she refused to accept her fate. She realizes that as a captive woman in this specific society, she has zero agency. She's viewed as just a commodity.
Right.
So she decides to completely change the equation.
She goes full Mulan.
Essentially, yes. She escapes her captors, which, by the way, involves some clever trickery all on its own, and finds herself alone in this strange, unfamiliar city.
Okay.
She realizes pretty quickly she can't survive as a beautiful woman on the run. It's too dangerous. So she cuts off her hair, she steals male clothing, she fashions herself a turban.
She fully disguises herself as a man. But she doesn't just pass as a man, right? Like, he doesn't just try to blend into the background as a peasant or a beggar. She aims for the very top.
This is that mind sharper than a sword in action.
Yes.
She realizes that if she's just a random poor man, she's still vulnerable to the whims of the powerful. To truly be safe, she needs power herself. So she enters the city acting like a high-born nobleman.
Strutting in.
Yeah, she has the breeding, the etiquette, and the education from her past noble life to actually pull it off.
And there's a power vacuum in this city right when she arrives,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like the king has died or they need a
Yes.
new leader.
The details vary a bit depending on the translation, but usually there's this massive public tournament or a challenge to find a new vizier.
A chief minister.
Exactly. It's framed as a meritocracy. They want the absolute best man for the job to help run the city.
So Zumurrud, in her stolen male disguise, enters this royal tournament.
And she completely dominates.
I love this part so much.
It's amazing because she doesn't just outsmart them. We know she's smart, but she actually outrides the expert horsemen. She outdebates the elder scholars. And when it comes to the martial arts...
Wait, she actually fights?
Yes. She physically fights. That's the ultimate reversal here. We assume she's just an intellectual strategist, but it turns out she's highly physically capable too.
Wow.
She defeats every single opponent they throw at her. And the people of the city are so incredibly impressed by this handsome, brilliant young stranger that they basically demand the court appoint him as the new vizier.
The irony is just delicious. You have all these tough, gritty, veteran warriors getting completely dismantled by a woman they probably would have overlooked completely a week ago in the market.
It challenges the gender norms of the time so aggressively. She isn't just surviving the patriarchy, she is infiltrating it, mastering its rules, and doing it better than the men.
So she officially gets the job. Zumurrud, former slave, is now the vizier. She's essentially running the government.
And she rules well. That's a really key point the text makes. She isn't a tyrant seeking revenge on the world. She lowers taxes, she judges court cases fairly, she brings genuine stability to the region.
But there's a massive cost to all of this success.
A huge cost. It's the duality of her life.
Right.
By day, she's this iron-fisted, universally respected leader. But the text gives us this heartbreaking glimpse into her nights. She goes back to her private chambers, locks the door, takes off the turban, and just weeps.
Because she misses Shar.
Desperately. She has all this power, all this public success, and she is utterly, completely lonely. Plus, she's living a massive lie. She has to be on guard 24/7.
One slip up and she's done.
Exactly. It's an incredibly high-stress existence.
We have this amazing split screen. Zumurrud the vizier is ruling a wealthy city, and Shar the beggar is wandering the desert crying.
Yes.
And fate, being what it is in 1001 Nights, is about to crash them right back together.
So years pass, and I think that is really important to know. It's not like a week later. They are older now. They've changed.
Right. Shar finally, by sheer chance, stumbles into Zumurrud's specific city. He is ragged, sun-bleached, totally unrecognizable as the wealthy, handsome merchant he once was.
Just a shell of a man.
Yeah. And he's working as a wandering storyteller just to earn a few scraps for dinner.
And because he's a storyteller, and the new vizier is known to be this great patron of the arts, he eventually gets summoned to the royal palace.
Just imagine the cinematic tension of this scene. You have the vizier sitting high on the dais, surrounded by fine silk and polished steel, armed guards everywhere.
Intimidating.
Very. And in walks this dirty, broken, exhausted traveler.
Does he recognize her at all?
Not even a little bit. Her disguise is flawless. He looks up at her and just sees a powerful man, a terrifying figure of absolute authority, so he bows down.
But Zumurrud?
She knows him instantly. The source says her heart nearly stops in her chest. She actually has to grip the armrests of her throne to keep herself from physically running down to him.
Oh, man.
It's the love of her life, standing right there looking completely wrecked. So why doesn't she just say something? Like, clear the room, honey, it's me. She's the boss, isn't she?
She is, but it's still way too dangerous. If she reveals she's a woman, the entire illusion shatters instantly. The royal court won't look at it and say, oh, wow, what a beautiful romantic reunion.
Right, they'd be furious.
They'll say, you lied to us, you're a woman ruling over men, this is absolute treason. She could be executed on the spot. So she has to be incredibly strategic.
She has to play the long game. So she invites him to stay as a guest of the court.
Yes. She provides him with a hot bath, fine clothes, a comfortable room in the palace. She slowly restores his dignity, and then she begins these private nightly visits.
This is the part that feels so dramatic. She visits him in his room, but she's still fully disguised as the male vizier.
Right. She walks in and says, entertain me. Tell me your story, traveler.
And Shar, thinking he's talking to a guy, a powerful official who's just been bizarrely kind to him, he just pours his heart out.
He tells the entire story of his life. He talks about the woman he loved, how he failed to protect her, how he lost her. Oh, wow.
He is confessing his deep, undying love for Zumurrud, directly to Zumurrud, without having any idea it's her sitting right across from him.
That's heartbreaking.
It's emotional torture for her.
Yeah.
Think about the incredible discipline that requires.
Seriously.
She has to sit there, completely stone-faced, nodding along, asking polite questions, while he is literally weeping over her name.
It's a test, isn't it?
It is. She's validating his love, but she's also testing him. Has he moved on in all these years? Has he found someone else? And the answer is no. He's still entirely hopelessly hers.
It's such a beautiful, twisted dynamic. But, you can only keep a massive secret like that for so long in a royal court. There are eyes and ears everywhere.
Always. There is always a jealous rival lurking in the background. Someone in the court notices that the vizier is spending a whole lot of late nights in the private chambers of this handsome new storyteller.
And of course, they don't think, oh, she's actually his long-lost wife.
No, of course not. They think the vizier is having a scandalous affair with a man.
And then someone peers a little too closely. Or maybe she slips up just once with her disguise, and the rumor starts spreading like wildfire. The vizier is actually a woman in disguise.
So the accusation eventually goes all the way up to the king or whatever higher authority oversees the region, and it's this massive double whammy of a scandal. Your vizier is a total fraud, and she's harboring a secret lover right under your roof.
The king is furious. He feels completely humiliated that he was tricked by a woman. He orders the palace surrounded immediately. He wants both of their heads on spikes.
Look, this is it. This is the climax of the blockbuster. The jig is up. The guards are literally battering the doors down. And usually in traditional stories, this is the exact moment where the guy finally steps up, picks up the sword, and defends his lady love.
But Ali Shar isn't a fighter. We established that. He's a lover. He's a poet, a storyteller. He's brave, sure, he's loyal, but he's not militarily trained. Zumurrud is the one who has to step up.
She dropped the mask. Or rather, I guess she uses all the martial skills she learned while wearing it.
Exactly. She rallies a specific group of guards, the ones she has personally trained and mentored, men who are loyal to her directly, not the king. She grabs her sword, and she turns to Ali Shar and says, "Stay close to me."
And they literally fight their way out.
It's a full-blown breakout sequence. The source explicitly mentions that they cut their way through the palace defenses. It's chaotic, it's bloody, it's desperate. They manage to steal horses and blast straight out of the city gates.
And I love that the text makes a very specific point here about how they actually managed to survive this impossible situation.
Yes, it credits their survival to two very specific things working in tandem: their deep love for each other and Zumurrud's swordsmanship.
That is the ultimate partnership right there. Ali Shar provides the emotional endurance, the reason to keep fighting when things look bleak, but Zumurrud provides the actual tactical skill to keep them breathing.
They are literally back-to-back against the world. They ride through massive storms. They dodge highway bandits. It's this grueling, high-speed chase all the way back across the desert to Baghdad.
And against all odds, they finally make it back. They reach the court of Harun al-Rashid.
They do.
Now, usually showing up at the caliph's court after causing a major diplomatic incident, impersonating a foreign official for years, and violently fleeing a city is, well, it's a huge risk.
It's incredibly risky. It's basically a coin toss on whether they get executed. But Harun al-Rashid, especially how he's portrayed in the Knights, acts as this sort of divine judge of character.
He appreciates boldness.
He does. He loves audacity.
Right.
And above all, he loves a genuinely good story.
So they throw themselves on his mercy.
Zumurrud steps forward and tells the truth. The entire truth. The kidnapping, the survival, the disguise, the years spent ruling a city as a man, and the violent escape.
And the caliph's reaction to all this.
He is absolutely delighted. He's charmed by her unbelievable bravery and intelligence. So instead of punishing them for the chaos, he pardons them completely. He restores Ali Shar's lost inheritance and then adds to it. He grants them official titles.
And here's the part that I think is the most important piece of the whole ending. Zumurrud doesn't just go back to the harem, take off the armor, and disappear into domestic life.
No, she doesn't. The text strongly implies she retains position of real influence. She becomes a trusted voice in the caliph's court.
Which makes sense.
Right. She proves she could successfully rule an entire city. The caliph isn't going to waste that kind of administrative talent just because she's wearing a dress again.
And Ali Shar. How does he handle being married to a woman who is, let's be honest here, way more badass than he will ever be?
He absolutely loves it.
That's great.
He lives out his days happily beside her. The source explicitly says he lived his life with the woman who, quote, fought armies, and ruled cities for him.
Wow.
He isn't threatened by her power or her fame. He reveres it.
That is such a remarkably healthy dynamic for a medieval story. It's not Beauty and the Beast, it's like the artist and the general.
It's practically avant-garde for its time. It challenges the lazy assumption that these old historical stories are just monolithically patriarchal.
Yeah, that they're all the same.
Yes, the setting is deeply patriarchal. The laws of the land are patriarchal. But the narrative itself celebrates the total subversion of those laws. The hero of the action beats, the sword fights, the strategic disguises. The ruling is the woman. Ali Shar is the emotional anchor, he's the core motivation, but Zumurrud is the engine driving the entire plot.
So when we step back and look at this whole narrative, from the desperation of the slave market to the tension of the throne room and finally back to Baghdad, what is the big takeaway here? Why does this story matter to us now, today, other than just being a really cool action movie waiting to happen?
I think it matters deeply because it exposes the complexity of history. We tend to look back and think of the past as this flat, gray place where women had absolutely zero agency and just accepted it.
Right, just victims of their time.
And yes, the structural oppression was very real. But stories like this prove that people back then knew women were fully capable of leadership and martial skill.
It's almost like the story is an outlet for that hidden realization. Like the society secretly knew it was actively suppressing half its talent. And this story acts as the pressure valve.
Exactly. It's a brilliant fantasy of competence. The story argues, quite boldly, that the only real difference between a male vizier ruling a city and a female slave being sold in a market is just opportunity and public perception.
Just the clothes they wear.
Right. The mask Zumurrud wore allowed people to finally see her brilliant mind because they weren't instantly distracted by her gender.
Wear any mask. That's the phrase that really stuck with me from your notes. True partners will cross any distance, wear any mask.
It is the central theme of their survival. Zumurrud had to literally become a fiction to be treated as a fact by her society. She had to lie about who she was to show the world what she was capable of.
It really makes you wonder about the actual historical record. Because we know this specific account is a story. It's a folk tale. But real history is full of massive gaps.
That's the lingering thought I just can't shake when reading this. Zumurrud is a success story because she survived to tell the tale and get the royal pardon. She got to eventually take the mask off and take credit.
Right.
But logically, for every Zumurrud in fiction, there must have been real women in actual history who tried to cross that exact same line.
Women who quietly put on the armor or the robes of the scholar or the merchant's turban just to survive or achieve their potential.
Exactly. How many great generals or brilliant advisors or master artists in the ancient world were actually women wearing the mask of a man? And the only reason we know them today as great men is because they never safely got to take the mask off.
Because if they had revealed themselves without a callous protection right there to pardon them, they wouldn't have been celebrated. They would have been executed and erased from the records entirely.
Success required total silence.
That is a really heavy thought. The silence of the successful ones. It genuinely changes how you look at a history book.
It changes how you walk through a museum, honestly. You look at those grand statues of stern, bearded men, and you have to wonder who is really in there, who is actually behind the marble.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that history is written by the victors, but sometimes the victors were wearing disguises the whole time.
And sometimes the absolute best stories are the ones that were never written down because they were just too dangerous to tell.
Well, on that provocative note, we're going to leave you to ponder the masks in your own history books.
And maybe the masks you wear yourself.
Ooh, nice one. Thanks for diving deep with us today on this incredible story.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Stay curious.